This podcast is intended for mature audiences and is not considered appropriate for enjoyment in the workplace.
You can stop the search for something intellectual and fulfilling. You've tuned into the Diary of a Bald Man, and there is no going back. Let the moaning, groaning, and bitching begin in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Did you know L-theanine, a natural compound found in green tea, may help create a sense of calm without taking away your ability to think clearly? In moments of stress, difficult conversations, or emotional weight, your body can go into overdrive. Heart rate up, thoughts racing, words harder to find. L-theanine has been shown to support alpha brainwave activity, which is associated with a calm, focused, and present state of mind. Not sedated, not numb, just steady. That matters. Especially when you're sitting across from someone you love, talking about things most people avoid, like medical wishes, end-of-life decisions, or what happens if. Because those conversations, they don't require perfection, they require presence. Some people also find that L-theanine helps take the edge off anxiety, and when paired with caffeine, it may smooth out the jitters, helping you stay grounded instead of overwhelmed. But remember, no supplement replaces preparation, communication, or love. It's just a tool, not the solution. If the conversation had to happen today, would you be calm enough, present enough to say what truly matters? Because silence is what leaves families guessing later.
Hey everybody, this is Alan Wolford, and you are listening to the Diary of a Bald Man. So first and foremost, I hope you had a great week. Got a lot of great responses to our last podcast on being able to say no, and balancing out your life for your positive return. So a lot of different stuff, in the shows, both historically, for the first 3 seasons. Today will probably be one of my most serious. And it's in reflection of what happened in the previous week. Now, if you haven't heard my previous shows, my parents are mature. Dad was in Vietnam. He's in his late 70s, mom in her early 80s. And they both had some significant challenges, both health-wise and emotional. It's hard to watch people decline and be in a positive, mindset. Some of the stress that we feel, daily, whether it's just getting in and out of work, dealing with, issues at home, bills, traffic being a big one for a lot of people, and challenges and trying to find a balance between that work and that life schedule. But everything always comes back to family. Now, that family may be blood related. It may be one you married into. It could be a group of people from work that you're closely associated with. And at the beginning of the show where it was talking about the L-theanine I use in tandem with magnesium glycinate because with my job in safety, constantly looking at, or reflecting on the job site, new people coming into the trades, new subcontractors that are not familiar probably with the job site we're on, and constantly focusing on how to keep them safe. What can I do to assist and help them, go through the day, and without having to look over the back is, hey, am I in a good position? Am I tied off? Am I walking into a dangerous scenario? And the same thing we think about our kids. Are they well? Are they getting, along in school? Do they have that free time to get away from the books, actually computers, laptops, iPads, and phones, to enjoy just being a kid? All these things build up, and how you and I deal with stress can vary. Our environments will impact that quite a bit. It's hard to get a quiet moment if you're a single mom or just, a regular mom or a regular dad. Getting off work, trying to accommodate your kids, meet their needs, both, physically and emotionally, to be able to validate the information that they're providing you. And we need the same thing. So when we're doing this, day in and day out, sometimes we look ahead and say, hey, tomorrow, weather's going to be like this. I get off 30 minutes early. Let me plan to take the kids to the park. Take them to the ball game. Take them to their dance recital. Take them to the library. Little things like that. We try to plan ahead with the positive idea that it's going to be mutually beneficial for the kids and for us to have that bonding time. But what about our parents? What about our grandparents or the people that we look to as mentors or leaders? What about ourselves in the future when the kids are grown and we've already completed and gotten through, their teenage years and now they're young adult? We have to think both for ourselves and for our children and for our parents. Because remember, we kind of go backwards. After we're born, we're raised, we're going through life, we're going through unique challenges and stuff. But then as we get older, we're starting to go backwards. We may need help eating. We may need help with, just general hygiene and personal effects. As you see now, there's a lot of people with dementia, Alzheimer's, and things of that nature. And, it's only getting worse as time goes by. So we have to think, what do my parents want me to do for them if they come incapacitated? Or like recently where mom had to have surgery, she made a change where anytime she has a medical event now, she is a DNR or do not resuscitate. And this kind of leads into this week. I had a conversation with my dad. He called me up. The wife and I were talking to him. And he said, from here, this moment forward, we're going to make these changes. We're going to get the living will. We're going to change out this information. And I am not to be resuscitated. I broke down. I cried. One of the strongest persons I've ever known in my life, especially a great influencer like my dad, told me that because of what he had seen from friends of his, not just from Vietnam, but from family members, things that happened after COVID, how they treat people now based off of what's going on and what's available. He did not want to be plugged into a machine because he's not a fucking goldfish in a pond. You just drop some food and maintain a water temperature. He did not want to go into a maintenance hold. He did not want to worry about pissing through a tube or a catheter, shitting himself, and some poor person who had the greatest of intention having to clean him up. He didn't want to go through the thoughts or feelings of having family members stand behind him and wonder if he's feeling pain or how he's going to manage when he gets out. These are simple things. And when we come back, we'll discuss a little bit more on Before the Silence, the conversations that families must have sooner than later. After this short message.
Did you know when someone is facing loss, whether it's a loved one, their health, or even their own mortality, they often move through 5 emotional stages: denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance. But here's the part most people don't realize. These stages don't happen in order. They don't follow a schedule. And sometimes people revisit the same stage more than once. One day, someone may feel acceptance, and the next, they're right back in anger or sadness. It's not a straight road. It's a winding one. Understanding this can help families show more patience, more compassion, and less judgment during some of the hardest conversations they'll ever have. If someone you love is going through one of these stages right now, are you meeting them where they are, or expecting them to move faster? Grief doesn't come with a manual, but understanding it might help you walk beside someone who needs you.
Hey everybody, welcome back. Now, as I said, initially, this is not going to be one of those grab-ass podcasts like I've done previously, because we have to think about serious events. All right? So this one's not funny. There's not going to be much sarcasm today, maybe just a little bit, because that's how I cope and that's one of my mechanisms. But this show actually matters. So as I mentioned the other day, I had to sit down with Rhonda, my father, and we have one of those conversations, the kind. The ones that people avoid. The ones that start with that long pause and ended up like it happened with me, with a lump in my throat. My dad asked me to step in if something happens, and again, my mom's already in a declining state, to help manage things. His military retirement, Social Security, bills, whatever it is, real life stuff that doesn't stop because someone gets sick or hospitalized or temporarily incapacitated. But he also made something very, very clear, that if he is at a point where machines are keeping him alive and he's in some type of fucking maintenance mode and there's no real quality of life left, and it takes people and machines to maintain him, he wants to be DNR, or do not resuscitate. Now let me tell you something. That is not an easy thing to hear, especially for me, especially when it comes to my father. I didn't get a chance to know my real mother. My wife and her family, they had a period when their father passed away in which they had to grieve, but it was instantaneous. There was no real advance warning that it was coming, other than he was hospitalized for melanoma, and they knew things were bad, but then they had to deal with it immediately. And the reason this one weighs heavier on me is my dad is giving me advance directives. So every day I'm popping more and more L-theanine to deal with the stress, because even though I know we all have, a shelf life, to hear my father say, I'm not going to be shelved, I'm not going to be stored, and I need you to handle this when shit goes down. That's what I'm going to do. And my wife had to verbally tell my father, do not worry, we will make it happen. Because at that time, I was breaking down. Again, I know that it's coming for me, for you, for our parents, for our kids one day. God forbid our grandkids in the far, far future. But it's one of those things we have to, consider. So, you know what? Let me tell you something. That was not easy to hear, and it's damn sure not an easy thing to carry. Because I don't know, with what he's got going, is it going to be something instantaneous? I need to jump now. Is it something I can plan with my siblings? But that was not the directive given to me, so I'm not going to do that. But what's harder in worrying about carrying that is guessing. Doing like my wife and her siblings did, standing in a hotel room, looking at your parent, your spouse, your best friend, your child, and having to decide without knowing what they wanted. That's where families break. Not because they don't love each other, because nobody had the conversation at the right time. So, with the boots on the ground type mentality, let's strip this down. In safety, in business, and other things, we prepare for storms. We prepare for job hazards. We write plans and actions and things for our kids, so if something happens at school, we get notified or give consent for medical care. But most folks, they don't prepare for the one thing that's guaranteed, and we're not talking about taxes. But here's what matters, or some things that matter. You need, or they need, to have a living will, what you want medically. My father gave a directive, and his was a DNR order when applicable. Another thing that matters is a healthcare proxy, power of attorney, a financial plan as to who handles what, and access to the accounts, bills, documents, things that you're going to need in order to fulfill the wishes, pay out their debts, maintain a dwelling or lights or power for the surviving partner? These are things you have to consider. Let me say this clearly. Having these conversations does not mean you're giving up at all. It means you're taking care of the people you love, even when you're not here to do it yourself. Did you know, according to studies in healthcare decision-making, families who have documented end-of-life wishes experience less stress, less conflict, and fewer feelings of guilt when making critical decisions? When wishes are written and communicated clearly, loved ones don't have to guess. They can focus on being present instead of being uncertain. And when things like this are going on, you need to be certain on what's to be expected and what's to be done. Now, I didn't walk away from that conversation feeling weak, knowing my father. I walked away, or sat there actually, feeling responsible. And I was honored because of all my siblings. He contacted me and said, "You will make sure that I'm unplugged. You will make sure that I'm not suffering in silence, because I'll probably be medicated or put down in such a way as I won't know what's going on." And he does not want to lose that voice, because my dad trusted me enough to speak the hard truth out loud and make sure I didn't misunderstand. If you take anything from this episode, let it be this: do not wait. Not until someone's in the hospital bed or in, an emergency room or in hospice. Not until emotions are running high and people are fighting over possessions, who's going to do what, who's going to be in control of what. Talk. Write it down and make it legal where needed. Because yes, laws, states, and medical guidelines may require certain documentation. So every state has different legal requirements for living wills, DNR orders, power of attorney, possession of persons and items. So make sure you talk with a qualified professional. Use the state-approved forms. Seek legal counsel where available. Look for things online for free resources and keep copies accessible. We spend our whole lives preparing for work, daily activities, transportation, things of that nature, but not nearly enough time preparing for a goodbye. And maybe that's the problem, because love doesn't end when life does. It shows up in the planning, in the clarity, in the decisions we make before the storm hits. Take care of your people, take care of yourself, and say the hard things out loud. This is Alan Woodford. Thank you for listening. I hope that if you have any questions or concerns or any additional commentary that you'd like to pass on, you can email me at diaryofaBaldman1968@gmail.com. God bless. God keep you. And we'll see you the next time. Thank you for listening.
As I went down in the river to pray, studying about that good old way, and who shall wear the starry crown? Good Lord, show me the way. Oh, sisters, let's go down, come on down. Oh, sisters, let's go down in the river to pray. As I went down in the river to pray, studying about that good old way, and who shall wear the robe and crown? Good Lord, show me the way. Oh, brothers, let's go down, come on down. Oh, brothers, let's go down in the river to pray. As I went down in the river
Alan Wooford has produced this podcast for entertainment purposes. Neither this nor any other podcast he produced constitute legal, medical, marital, sexual, or professional advice. The opinions and views presented by Alan are his own and do not reflect the views or opinions of employers, clients, family, Facebook groupies, promotional sponsors, or baby Jesus. Any health information shared or mentioned as an alternative does not create any patient-physician relationship or other professional relationship between the audience and the presenters. No person listening to any podcast from this rocket surgeon should act or refrain from acting based on the content of a podcast without first seeking appropriate professional advice and or counseling, nor shall the information be used to substitute for professional advice and counseling. As stated earlier, this show is for entertainment purposes, not how to lead or change your life. Do what is best for you or what your spouse approves of. Alan Wooford and all guests of the show expressly disclaim all liability relating to any actions taken or not taken based on any and all contents of this site.